Hi and welcome to the Malat cookery channel. Today we're going to be making an iconic takeaway dish, doner kebab meat, using the Malat doner kebab seasoning. For those of you that don't know about our company, have a look at our introductory video that will explain it in a lot more detail. And of course, with all of these videos, a full list of ingredients will be given at the end. So the first thing we need to do is let's have a look at the ingredients that we're going to need for today in order to make the doner kebab meat. Okay, so in order to make the doner kebab meat, we need 500 grams of minced lamb. This is 20% fat content. 500 grams of minced beef. This is 20% fat content as well. Both of these have been chilling in the fridge for about an hour. You need to get the meat as cold as possible. We've got 3 pieces of medium sliced bread with the crust cut off. These have been sat out for a couple of hours so that they go slightly stale. We'll then place these into the food processor to create some breadcrumbs. We've got 1 egg which has been beaten and also 2 tablespoons of olive oil added. 30 grams of the Malat doner kebab seasoning. I've tried to do this recipe without a food processor, but it doesn't work. The 3 things that we need in order to create products which are the same quality or better than the takeaway is we need the same taste, the same appearance, but also the same texture. And if we don't use the food processor, you don't get that same tight texture that you do in doner kebab meat, which means that we can't slice it thinly. We also need a mixing bowl for this part of the process. So you just break the 3 pieces of bread up in the food processor. And then just pull in order to break up all of those pieces into actual breadcrumbs. The more stale the bread, the better that this will break up. That then goes into the bowl. And then into here we want to add the meat. And just with your hands, break it up and mix that in. Into there now, we want to add the Malat doner kebab seasoning, and then also the egg and olive oil mix. And again, just work that in. It's best to use a fairly high fat content for both the meat and also adding in the 2 tablespoons of olive oil, because one thing that could happen with this is the meat can be quite dry. In the doner kebab meat from the takeaways, it's extremely high fat content. And again, we want to have the same texture, taste and look to the meals that we're producing, to replicate those in the fast food outlets, but the aim of it is also to make this meal healthier. Okay, so that's the mixture all blended together. The next thing we need to do is to place it into the food processor. And then we're going to process this for a couple of minutes until it turns to the same consistency as sausage meat. That way, once the doner kebab meat is cooked, it will stay together, tightly packed, so we can slice it very thinly, just as they do in the takeaways. Let me just move this out of the way. Okay, so this has been blending now for about 2 to 3 minutes. Remember to switch it off at the wall when we're going into it. And then what we want to do is we want to get the meat. You can see it's the consistency of sausage meat now. You place it back into the bowl, and then this will go into the fridge for half an hour in order to chill again, before we shape it, put it into foil, and then into the oven. Use a spatula to get the remainder of the meat out, because obviously we've got a very sharp blade in the bottom of this processor. Okay, so this can go into the fridge again now, covered. So we'll cover this with some cling film, put it into the fridge, and leave it to chill again for about half an hour before we then shape it into the traditional doner kebab style roll. Okay, so the doner kebab meat mixture has been chilling in the fridge for about half an hour. We need to get the meat as cold as possible so that it stays together in the oven. The next thing we want to do is get a piece of foil, and I've put some olive oil onto here. We just need to spread the olive oil out. This helps keep the meat moist in the oven and also stops it from sticking. Okay, so we just need to cover that well. The next thing we need to do is get the meat. And what we're going to do with this is just create a cylindrical shape. Just make sure it's coated on all sides with the olive oil. Okay, so just a rough cylindrical shape like that. Next thing we want to do is to bring the foil up and around, and then almost like a Christmas cracker, we want to turn in the ends. Okay, so then we've got that. So once we've got the shape, we then place it into an oven-proof dish with the seam side up so that we retain as much moisture in the meat as possible. And this will then go into a preheated oven, 180 degrees centigrade, for about 40 to 50 minutes until it's cooked through in the centre. Okay, so that's the doner kebab meat done now. It's taken about 50 minutes in the oven. As you can see, because we've put the seam side up, it's retained a lot of the moisture around the meat. So the next thing we want to do is we want to take this out of here. Onto a chopping board. I need to get rid of that. Okay, it's all about the theatre in the kitchen, so instead of using a standard knife, we're going to use an electric knife. especially if we've got barbecues or we've got family around. It's always good to use an electric knife to actually cut the doner kebab meat, similar to they do in the takeaways. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to cut the end of the doner kebab meat off, and that will then allow it to stand upright. Obviously we're not going to waste that. And we turn the doner kebab meat on its end and then place a skewer down through the centre. Okay, just like that. And if we just move that over. And then here's a good tip to get a plate and a bowl. Turn the bowl upside down and place the doner kebab meat on the top. This means that when we now cut it, we can cut all the way to the bottom of the meat with the electric knife. And try and cut the meat as thinly as possible. And because we blended the meat in a food processor first before we cooked it, it's allowed us to cut the meat extremely thin and it still stays together. So let me just show you guys this. So that's the meat. Smells just like the doner kebab meat from the takeaway, and it tastes exactly the same as well. So we take a pita bread which has been toasted very lightly in the toaster. Some lettuce in there, some shredded lettuce, cucumber, tomato, and obviously the doner kebab meat. A little bit more. Now I like to put some mint yogurt on as well, and also either some sweet chili or in this case some peri peri sauce. So there you have it, homemade doner kebab meat. A lot healthier than buying from the takeaway, certainly a lot less expensive, and in my opinion a lot tastier as well. Please subscribe to the channel, and if you've enjoyed the video, hit the like button. Thanks for watching. Absolutely gorgeous.